Yo, what is going on? Cover One crew, Chris Chow's back again. Hope everybody's doing great out there. Happy Saturday. And we got a good show. Of course, it is week number 10. Start, sit, lineup advice. We got to get you guys ready for the, tail end of the fantasy football season. Fantasy playoffs are vastly approaching. Last-ditch effort. You got to get in. I'm going to help you out, man, because we got a lot of good stuff to cover, a lot of injuries. So let's waste no time and dive right into the good stuff. Let's go. So before we kick it off, we got to talk about BetUS. Get in there, man. This is a new partnership for Cover One, and it is using promo code Cover1. You get 125% sign-up bonus up to $2,500, man. I'm telling y'all, I do point spread picks as well. Hit me up on Twitter. I'm doing very well this season. Get you that money. Get you on BetUS. Earn some dollars. And you got to love it. But let's dive into week number 10. Like I said, start, sit, lineup advice. The bye week trouble is here again. It is Baltimore, Cincinnati, New England, and the New York Jets on the bye this week. It wasn't bye-pocalypse the way it was last week, but at least, this week you still got some ballers, man. Lamar, Joey B, Joe Mixon off his 53 points. All on the bye week this week. You guys got to, find somebody else to, fill your rosters. So let's go. Arizona Cardinals going up against the LA Rams. Lots of injuries in this contest to significant players, including Kyler Murray. He pops himself up on the injury report late this week with a hamstring injury. Coach Cliff Kingsbury saying that it is a game-time call. So you guys got to watch it as the game pregame workouts to see if Kyler Murray, I'm stumbling because this is a shocker, but I mean, you know what? To see if Kyler Murray is actually going to suit up in this contest. This would be a monumental loss for this club in this week. Even though the LA Rams have been struggling quite a bit, I mean, you got to have Kyler Murray on the field. But, I mean, he's an injury risk right now. If he does play, you got no choice but to suit him up because there are likely worse options than a Kyler Murray. But, I mean, you definitely got to watch the pregame workout before you're going to fire him up this week. James Conner, in that case, let's just predicate on to say if Kyler Murray does sit this week, then you got to go James Conner as a start for me. It's a mid-level risk because the Rams defense is still good, but he's going to then get volume if Kyler Murray is not there. So you're playing the volume upside for your running backs because there are injuries this week to running backs as well. So if Kyler Murray sits, I'm firing up James Conner. If Kyler plays, it's going to be a mid-level risk for me because we got to see, I'm not, feeling the warm and fuzzies from this run game in Arizona. But again, it's going to be volume upside if Kyler does sit. DeAndre Hopkins still, even without a Kyler Murray, is likely going to be a low-risk play because they'll just feed him. Even, I believe McSorley is the backup quarterback, so he's going to feed a D-Hop all day long, so he gets a low risk for me. Rondale and Robbie Anderson would get a high risk. I would not play him without a Kyler Murray, and we're going on the notion that he is not playing this week based on the game-time decision, so I want to say, Kyler Murray's on the other end of playing this week, the bad end, so I mean, I wouldn't start Rondale or Robbie this week, but Zach Ertz does get a mid-level risk with a McSorley because there would be check down appeal and short passes coming his way potentially, even against the Rams defense that is still very good, even though they let the team down last week when the offense stumbled. The Buffalo Bills, here's the big one. I mean, Josh Allen, we know, man, the elbow is a problem, and luckily we're hoping that he did pass, severity of Tommy John surgery because that would be ridiculously brutal for our Buffalo Bills, but Josh Allen is a game-time call, hour to hour, as the coach Sean McDermott said, but he's not going to play. I would be shocked if Josh Allen does play this week. I still got him here as a questionable because they're trying to, scheme up some at least, confusion for the Minnesota Vikings. I do not foresee him playing this week, so it is going to be Case Keenum, and that is not good, man. Not good news for the Buffalo Bills offense. Devin Singletary would get a mid-level risk because, again, volume would be upside for this running back room. Is there potential that we do see Nyheim Hines and James Cook in this trio and they run the ball a heck of a ton? It is very possible. We could see James Cook going against his brother Dalvin Cook, so there is some upside there. I got PPR upside for a James Cook only because he's playing his brother. There is potential if Josh Allen does sit, which he's likely going to do. There could be a lot of ground attack and ground and pound for the Buffalo Bills in this game. You want to believe. I don't think it's going to be the same scheme, same setup with a Case Keenum as much as everyone thinks that it is. The Bills may have to go to the ground game quite a bit, and you know what? I would not hate to see James Cook, duke it out with his brother, Dalvin Cook. Stephon Diggs gets a low risk either way. He's just too good, man. So even all the passes that could go from Case Keenum likely will find its way to a Stephon Diggs. So so he is a low risk. Obviously, you're firing him up, but I mean, temper the expectations. We could still potentially see him get in the end zone, save his day. I want to say around, 8 to 12, 8 to 15 points for Stefon Diggs this week, I think is going to be kind of that range that you're looking for. Gabe Davis, he falls down my board just a little bit this week, gets a mid-level risk without a Josh Allen. Very tough to predict what he's going to do with a Case Keenum. He is having dropping problems, and I don't know what's going on. I did say, excuse me, on Twitter this week, if you're talking about, upside on a Gabe Davis and what the problem is, not only is he dropping passes, his catch rate is a lot lower, but they are only utilizing him in deep stretches. Why don't they go back to where we saw the toe drag swag a lot last year with a Gabe Davis? He's got 10 yards higher this year than he did last year in average per catch, so that tells you they're only going deep, so that's typically going to drop his catch rate because of the high unlikeliness of converting on those deep passes a lot. But we can't say that Gabe is not doing his part because he is dropping a lot of passes as well. Isaiah McKenzie and Dawson Knox both would get a high-risk play for me with a Case Keenum. Without Josh Allen, you can't like this offense. Right now, we got to see it on the field if they're actually going to be efficient. Maybe it is going to be like a Matt Barkley, a couple years back versus the Jets where he just lights them up. But we got to see it to believe it. So, I mean, those are my predictions for the Bills this week. The Chicago Bears going up against the Detroit Lions. Detroit's on life support right now. They just cannot close out contest where Justin Fields seems to be finding his stride. He looks absolutely phenomenal. 5 boom games for this guy right now. You gotta love it. This is basically his rookie year. I've been saying it the whole time. Second system in 2 years. You can't, fault the guy for stumbling out the gates early. Starting to figure things out. Justin Fields is a definite stud start for me. He just lit up the stat sheet last week, I believe, over 40 points. He's going to likely do that again against these Detroit Lions that are struggling, hemorrhaging points with the best of them. David Montgomery gets a low-risk play this week for me. I think he is a good play. I think this is the contest where they get him back in the good graces. It's been a lot of hit and miss since Monty was out with that injury. This is the game they're going to say, you know what? This is your backfield more than it is for Khalil Herbert. So I got a lot of faith in David Montgomery this week. I think he's going to be able to run the ball quite well against a porous Detroit Lions defense. Mid-level risk for a Herbert. I still believe that he's going to get his touches as well. Potential goal line upside as well. So I don't hate starting a Khalil Herbert if you have some running back issues this week. Darnell Mooney has got a high floor now. Once again, we love to see this. Justin Fields starting to throw some passes. That pass he made in that end zone on that, the corner shoulder fade where Mooney was diving backward and still toe tapped his way into the end zone. This is what we wanted to see the entire season. Now it's starting to come to pass, starting to come to fruition. You can trust Darnell Mooney with a good high floor this week. Pettis, Claypool, not really trusting this week. You got to crawl before you walk, man. And this is what Chicago's doing. They're crawling. Now they're going to start walking. Maybe they'll get to running soon. But Claypool's a little bit of a risk still. Pettis still a risk. You're not playing him this week. Cole Kmet is definitely finding his way back up my board. Mid-level risk. Finding some good opportunity in scoring touchdowns. This is what we expected from Mooney and Kmet. I do believe you can trust Kmet this week as well. The Cleveland Browns going to Miami facing the Dolphins. And the Jacoby Brissett, mid-level risk for me this week. Coming off the bye week. You got to think that they're going to be ready for this game, but it is travel to Miami. It's always difficult for any team going down there. And I mean, so Jacoby Brissett kind of, you got to think he's going to have a chip on his shoulder because Deshaun Watson's going to be coming back very, very soon. So I got to believe that he's going to, put it all on the line and he's going to try his best to at least put up points. Going to be behind his star back, Nick Chubb, low-level risk. You're firing him up everywhere. Nick Chubb. Kareem Hunt is the question mark again because are they going to utilize him now that the trade deadline has passed? I do believe so. I think they were kind of, pigeonholing him and nursing him along and babying him just a little bit to, keep that trade value there, not get him injured. Now I think Kareem Hunt is going to be a fixture in this offense once again. 10 points isn't out of the question for Kareem Hunt against the Miami Dolphins, where they could utilize him a lot in this past game as well. Mid-level risk. I don't hate firing up a Kareem Hunt, man. Amari Cooper, low-level risk. You're firing him up, even though on the road he does not play as good as he does at home, so you got to watch out for that. But I mean, in the Miami Heat, you got to think he's going to be able to do very well. I got a low-level risk. He is the number one target for Jacoby Brissett at this point. He's giving you good points. Donovan Peoples-Jones, mid-level risk. I'm going to kind of fade him this week, along with a David Bell. Not really digging it. I mean, he's only been giving you the, 6 to 9 points, so I think there are better options on the waiver wire than a Peoples-Jones. We do got David Njoku is hurt this week as well, so Harrison Bryant does pick up again. High-level risk play. You're not touching Harrison Bryant this week. The Dallas Cowboys at the Green Bay Packers. Big contest. Should have been a big contest, except for the Green Bay Packers. They're finding themselves getting a lot more injured and not playing well, but Dak Prescott coming off the bye week. This is going to be, I think, a easy game for him in some relative sense. I think that he's going to be able to open up this offense. After coming back from the injury, they got the bye week now. He's played a couple games, looked efficient enough, but I think this is where we open up the Dallas Cowboy offense just a little bit more. Even against Chicago, we saw them move the ball a lot, and they scored a lot of points. I think they're going to piggyback off that, and off the bye, they're going to look very good. Dak Prescott, low-level risk for me. He is a must-start for me as well. Zeke Elliott is still got the injury designation. They're saying he's questionable with the knee, and Jerry Jones does expect him to play this week. I don't like it. I would still put him on the bench against Green Bay. I think that Tony Pollard has kind of earned his way to get more touches. Tony gets a low risk for me. Fire up Tony Pollard. I would, if you got to start Zeke, I get it, but I would caution it big time. I don't want to start him this week, so I would look for other options. Tony Pollard, definitely fire him up, as is CeeDee Lamb. You're firing him up always, every single week. Excuse me. And now that Dak Prescott is back in the good books, I think CeeDee Lamb is going to have a very good, second half of the regular season where his numbers could be rivaling some of the top dogs in the NFL. I truly believe that CeeDee Lamb is a dog. You're firing him up everywhere. Noah Brown, high-level risk. You're not playing him because Michael Gallup is starting to, pick up the game. What did I tell y'all? The coaching staff in Dallas doesn't tend to lie as much as we think they do. They said they had to get Michael Gallup a lot more target share, and they did before they went on the bye. Target upside once again for Michael Gallup this week. Dalton Schultz finally off the injury report. Mid-level risk for me. I think we could trust him. He's going to be utilized. Dak, he loves his game. He is the safety blanket for Dak Prescott and this offense. Green Bay is definitely going to try to keep up with him, and I think Dalton Schultz finds his way into the end zone this week, man. The Denver Broncos taking on the Tennessee Titans, who gave the Kansas City Chiefs a run for their money last week. Russell Wilson and Denver coming off the bye week. Mid-level risk still for Russell. I mean, let's ride, but I mean, it's not very good. You're not riding very far with a Russell Wilson. We'll see how they come out the gates with after the bye week. Yes, they did get Chase Edmonds in that trade for for Chubb, the defensive end. So I mean, we'll see. We'll see how they sprinkle this offense. Now it just makes the running back room that much more muddled and harder to trust in this backfield. Gordon, Murray, Edmonds, pick your poison. You want to say that, Gordon's going to likely get the higher end of the volume, where Lat Murray was going to get goal line upside every single week. And then you sprinkle in Chase Edmonds. We don't know what his role is going to be, so I'm going to rank it. It's going to be Gordon, Lat, and then Chase, 1, 2, 3. So I would say high risk for a Chase Edmonds, mid-level risk for Gordon, and a goal line upside for a Lat Murray. Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy both get a mid-level risk for me. I'm starting Jerry Jeudy over a Cortland Sutton at this point. We got to see Sutton break out of his funk. He just he hasn't played well as of late, as his passing game has faltered. He just does not look good. He's not separating. Russ can't get him the ball. It's not looking good. I would play Jeudy over Sutton at this point. If Sutton hits on your bench, good. At least we can have something to talk about next week. Greg Dulcich, he is the only low-risk play I got on these Denver Broncos. If you can believe it, he's finding ways to get open, and Russ is finding ways to hit him. He does have touchdown upside as well. 2 boom games for Greg Dulcich already. You can definitely trust him this week if you got to fire up at him at the tight end spot. The Detroit Lions going to Chicago. Like I said, Jared Goff, mid-level risk. His play is just faded. Started very good. Now he's faded back off to where we believed he likely was going to be this year. But, I mean, now he's got DeAndre Swift finally off the injury report. Hallelujah. Thank the Lord, because we need some DeAndre Swift this week in a very big way. They were nursing him along with touches. I think he gets back in a good way. Low-level risk for DeAndre Swift. We're a mid-level to a Jamal Williams. You can likely fire up both these backs in this contest because the lack of pass-catching ability, once again due to injury. Josh Reynolds is out of this contest. So it is only Amon-Ra St. Brown, Khalif Raymond, James Mitchell, not likely, the best of pass catchers anymore in Detroit. So you got to think Amon-Ra is still low risk because of the volume upside. You can't hate that. He's going to be at least getting his targets. The only crappy thing now is he's going to see a lot of double teams, which is going to take away from his potential upside. But this is where DeAndre Swift could help the cause in the pass game to get Amon-Ra open. I totally expect that we're going to see that in this contest. A lot of DeAndre Swift, a lot of Amon-Ra St. Brown in volume and target share, at least to get you the point productivity, but you can also trust a Jamal Williams for potential goal line upside. Those Green Bay Packers taking on the Dallas Cowboys. Aaron Rodgers does not look good, even though he's got 7 boom games. It's so hard to trust an AR right now. It's just this whole offense just does not look good. Aaron Jones was popped up on the ankle, on the injury report with an ankle. He did the test came back negative and clean. He's likely going to play in this contest. Haven't seen anything to refute that right now on the injury reports. So I do believe low risk still goes to an Aaron Jones against this Dallas Cowboys defense that is still very good in pressuring. So they're going to have to get Aaron Jones involved early and often, especially in the pass game. The dump-offs, recreate the run game a little bit in the short pass game. This is what Green Bay definitely has to do this week. Aaron Rodgers, I feel for you, man. There's not a lot of help and assistance in your wide receiver room with the exception, I should say, of Allen Lazard. He is a low-level risk play for me. A.J. Dillon, I'm not even looking in his direction. That's why I just skipped right over him. But, Allen Lazard, low-level risk. He's got a lot of chemistry with an Aaron Rodgers, and he is making plays. So he is becoming the trusted source and commodity for fantasy point productivity. Allen Lazard, I'm okay firing him up this week, even though he's likely going to go up against Diggs. But Diggs gets burned, so you can always say Allen Lazard is a decent play this week. 8 to 12 points, you can definitely see. Sammy Watkins, high risk. Christian Watson, high risk. Not trusting them. I'm not even looking in their direction. Robert Tonyan gets a mid-level risk because, again, now you're going back to the well of who does Aaron Rodgers trust the most, and that is going to be an Aaron Jones and a Robert Tonyan and an Allen Lazard. So I think that's how you got to go in this offense. You got to believe that Dallas is going to get out early in this contest, put up a lot of points, keeping Green Bay in the point where they got to continue to throw the ball. So I like that for PPR upside for these pass catchers. The Houston Texans taking on the New York Giants, the Big Blue. Coming off the bye week, so this is going to be interesting. It's in New York. Davis Mills, mid-level risk. They got some extra rest coming off Thursday Night Football. I don't like it. Mid-level risk, even though the Giants' defense is gashed at times, I think it's going to be very difficult for him to move the ball. Dameon Pierce, low-level risk because of volume upside, even though he is dealing with some injuries and ailments of his own, shoulder and ankle or shoulder and knee, if I'm not mistaken, but he's got some injuries. And this was my problem with Dameon Pierce. It wasn't the talent wasn't there. We knew he was a battering ram, but can his body hold up? This is going to be the question that I was saying, even going back to all my scouting reports last offseason. I didn't believe that his body could hold up taking the ball 250 times and being the main reliance in any offense. He's proven me wrong thus far without being banged up out of 10 weeks. This is the first time he's really popped up on the injury report, so just something I'm definitely keeping my eye on. Still a low-level risk. He's going to get the volume. He's going to get the touches, but he's kind of hampered to not finding the end zone, giving you only like 13 or 14 points when it should have been over 20. That's kind of your problem right now. With a Dameon Pierce. Rexy Burkhead, you're not starting him. I don't care who you are. Brandon Cooks, he would typically in this contest get a good low-level risk play for me. He's so disgruntled. He doesn't want to be in Houston anymore. He wanted out at the trade deadline. They did not give him his walking papers. They could not find a trade partner. I don't think he's going to produce much for y'all, not only in this contest, but for the rest of the season. I think he's that disgruntled with this offense. He wants to win. He's sick and tired of being in this Houston rebuild constantly, always with lesser quarterbacks in his career. I'm not playing Brandon Cooks this week. I think he's a good bench. Even if he does, man, I had a frog in my throat. But even if he does pop off, I'm okay with keeping him on my bench because it's just too volatile right now. We want to see his attitude change where he's going to say, at least I'm going to, keep playing for this team for the rest of the year. Don't like it. Nico Collins, injury risk. You're not playing him. Chris Moore, he finds his way up my board to mid-level risk. He was getting trusted with Cooks out last week. I think that's kind of going to be the formula now, where if Cooks is on the field, he plays a little bit more decoy, and Chris Moore actually gets a lot more of the action. So you got to see it. Even though Brandon Cooks does pop up on the injury report with a risk, we could see the point that he doesn't play as well, which would make Chris Moore that much more appealing in my opinion. The Indianapolis Colts taking on the Las Vegas Raiders, and both teams in disarray. We got Jeff Saturday, now the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts. I mean, this is causing a lot of stir up in the circles and media, saying it's disrespectful that Saturday got, the coaching job over a lot of people. I don't got an opinion on that at this point. Yes, I could see a lot of people, getting the job over Saturday. We'll see how he does. This just reeks like it's tank season now for me for these Colts. They're 3-5-1. What do they have to, lose at this point? They got Sam Ehlinger playing quarterback. JT's been injured. Why are you winning? They want to get a quarterback finally to rebuild once again. They've tried, the Phillip Rivers, the Matt Ryan, the Carson Wentz before that. It just is not working. They need to draft a young quarterback that they can build this team around again, because you got players like Jonathan Taylor and Michael Pittman, Alec Pierce, that you can build this entire offense around. They're just missing the top-end quarterback, and I think hiring Jeff Saturday as the interim head coach was the reason why they want to tank. So the media needs to chill out just a little bit to say it's disrespectful, because there's no way that Jeff Saturday is going to be the head coach the following season. I bet you any money that that's not going to happen unless he runs the table and they make it to the playoffs. Then we got a different story. But Sam Ehlinger, high-level risk for me. Jonathan Taylor, he is likely coming back. I didn't see him pop up on the injury report. Low-level risk. They're going to have to run the ball a lot. And this Las Vegas Raiders team is not very good versus the run, so I do like that a lot if Taylor is back healthy. Jordan Wilkins, high-level risk, but he could spell out Taylor. They could do a little 60-40 timeshare, so if you're hurting desperately, he's in deeper leagues. Wilkins, I wouldn't trust it anywhere outside of 14 and 16-team leagues. Michael Pittman, I got a mid-level risk because Sam Ehlinger just could not get him the ball. He's falling down my board. Same goes for Alec Pierce and Paris Campbell. Boomer bust products this week once again. I just don't like it whatsoever. If they get any pressure on an Ehlinger, he's not going to be able to support this offense like we saw last week. Don't like it whatsoever. Mo Alley-Cox, he's on the injury report, so it is Mo Cox, Mo problems. Once again this week, you're not playing him. The Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the mighty Kansas City Chiefs in Arrowhead. I fear for Trevor Lawrence's life this week. They're going to put the bum rush on him, and I'm giving him a mid-level risk. I foresee a lot of turnovers from Trevor Lawrence in this contest unless they continue to utilize a Travis Etienne, who's been an absolute stud start for a Travis Etienne. Kansas City just can't stop the run. This is good news. They need to lean on the ground game. Coach Doug Peterson, lean on the ground. Lean on Travis Etienne. He's going to get you in the good graces. Maybe that does uplift a Trevor Lawrence, so hopefully Trevor does not turn the ball over, but I see at least one interception in this contest. Christian Kirk will get the low-level risk because, again, the secondary isn't that great in Kansas City. They do give up a lot of plays, and Kirk's going to be fed enough. I got high-level risk on Zay Jones and Marvin Jones, even though they're going to get their PPR upside. It's just not good enough to trust in fantasy football today. There are better pieces you can find at the wide receiver position, especially for your flex spot. Evan Ingram, injury risk. He did pop up with a back injury, so this is not good news for him. I've been supportive of Evan Ingram so far this season, so if Evan does not play, then you can lift up likely a Zay Jones in that replacement for him as well. The Kansas City Chiefs, likewise, going up against these Jacksonville Jaguars. Patrick Mahomes, stud start. You know this. Travis Kelce, stud start. You know this. Don't even have to cover it anymore. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he's in the doghouse after, starting the season so good. I do not like it whatsoever. Jacksonville does have some good talent on the front seven that's going to give him a run for his money. So unless he catches a pass from the backfield, which could happen this week because Mecole Hardman is not playing, but we do got to put up, Kadarius Toney just a little bit more up my board. So Juju does get a lower level risk play for me as well. 90.2 points, 3 boom games. He's doing very well as this season is, moving forward. So Juju, I do trust. MVS, you do not trust. You're not playing him. Kadarius, I'm actually going to say I'm going to start. I'm going to piggyback this without a Mecole Hardman. They're going to let this man run a little bit, and I think it's going to come to, good to decent play. I want to say 9 points. 9 to 13 points we get for Kadarius Toney. They're going to try to utilize him like Mecole, like Tyreek. I really want to see it in this offense. It's a risk this week, no kidding. So if you don't have the kahunas to start him, I completely understand because it is a big risk. But I like him this week. I do. I really do. I think he's going to pop off just a little bit. He's going to see more than the target share, the 3 targets he's seen the last game. So I do like him this week. I want to say at least 5 to 6 targets coming to Kadarius Toney's side, and we'll see what he could do against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Not great secondary, but good front seven. The LA Chargers taking on the San Francisco 49ers in a very good contest on Sunday Night Football. Justin Herbert did look better, man. He looks like he might be over the ribs a little bit. Playing hurt still is always going to be the key. Who plays, who gets over broken ribs that quickly? Nobody. These guys are cyborgs. They're not human, but Herbert did look a lot better as the game wore on. We got news Keenan Allen still not ready to go. That hamstring is just killing his season 100%. He's been the worst bench stash you've had to hold this entire time. Absolutely sucks. Low-level risk for Justin Herbert, even though the 49ers defense is good. I think Herbert has a very good day on Sunday Night Football in primetime, as does Austin Eckler, who has been, keeping this offense afloat, man. They're still 5-3, the Chargers are, because it's off the back of an Austin Eckler stud start, man. They're continuing to feed him in both the run and the pass. He looks very, very good. I got some optimism for Isaiah Spiller. I want to continue to see the touches continue to move up, and he will get better designation. Right now, it's good that he's just getting on the field. He's got a high risk. You're not playing him. Josh Palmer, low-level risk. Like I said last week, he's going to get the volume. Now no Mike Williams, still no Keenan Allen. He's your go-to number one target, and he's got the ability to be that guy and give you the good threshold, 15 to 20 points if he finds his way into the end zone. Same with Gerald Everett, mid-level risk, because he disappointed me last week. I don't like the matchup, against the San Francisco 49ers safeties and linebackers, but I do believe he does catch enough passes to warrant the start this week as well. Gerald Everett, you can definitely trust once again this week. The LA Rams, Matthew Stafford, this is what I'm saying, with going up against the Arizona Cardinals, so no Kyler Murray, we could potentially have no Matthew Stafford, so the battle of the backups could be, prevalent in LA or in Arizona between the LA Rams and the Arizona Cardinals, so definitely watch out for that. If Matthew Stafford doesn't play, this puts a wrinkle in this entire offense once again. Even more so than it has been with a Matthew Stafford. You got to think they're going to go back to the ground game if Stafford does not play. Henderson likely going to get a lot of the share. We're waiting for Kyren Williams to get activated. He's been activated off IR, but he has still in that 21-day window, if I'm not mistaken, hasn't been activated to play just yet. So it still is Cam Akers, still high risk for Cam Akers, mid-level risk for Henderson. I do believe that he's going to be able to at least run the ball better than he has had been these last several weeks against the Arizona Cardinals defense without a Budda Baker, who is gone for quite a few weeks. Cooper Kupp still gets a low-level risk. If Stafford doesn't play, we'll see. You got to start Kupp, obviously, but we'll see if the top-end play is going to be there. Allen Robinson, Van Jefferson, Tyler Higbee, all will get a high-level risk. No play for me because I don't like it without a Matthew Stafford. I don't even like it right now with a Matthew Stafford, so they got all high-level risks. Look somewhere else. Do not start these individuals. The Las Vegas Raiders going up against the Indianapolis Colts in Indy, taking travel. Derek Carr looked good last week. Looked better, I should say, last week. Even though they did lose, he put up a lot of fantasy productivity. He gets a low-level risk again against an Indianapolis Colts. Yes, the secondary still is good. Coaching change, big time. Okay, how are they going to play this game? How are they going to, build a scheme with new offensive and defensive coordinators within, a week? I don't see it whatsoever. Derek Carr should be able to feast and eat up everybody on this defense, as is Josh Jacobs. Should get back to the good graces. Low-risk plays for me as well. Stud star for a Devontae Adams. It's going to be these three. That's it. Carr, Jacobs, and Adams. The entire offense, now without Darren Waller, now without Hunter Renfrow, both put to the IR. They are not going to be playing this week. They're not going to be playing for the minimum 4 weeks. They're basically done for the year, if I'm not mistaken. But, it's going to be target share pig for Devontae Adams. You got to love that. Mac Hollins gets a mid-level risk for me. Keenan Cole and a Foster Moreau get a high-level risk. Moreau does have TD upside, so we will see, because Derek Carr does utilize him as well in this offense. So I could have put TD upside, but I think it's going to be Jacobs and Adams more so this week than a Foster Moreau. We got the Miami Dolphins taking on those Cleveland Browns, like I mentioned. Everybody's in love with Tua Tagovailoa at this point. Okay, it's easy to I could throw to Tyreek and Jalen Waddle at this point, man. Put me on the field. I'll get them 1,000. I'm playing. I'm being facetious, but it's a lot easier to get the ball to guys that are superstars, and Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle are track stars, superstars in the NFL. They both are on the tops in the NFL in receiving yards. 7 boom games apiece, where Tua has 4, so that tells you who's doing what in this offense, okay? Excuse me. Like I said, that frog in my throat is killing me today. Low-level risk for a Tua. I can play him this week. I'm trusting it. I don't hate it. I got mid-level risks on Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson. I'm going to say Jeff Wilson over Mostert at this week. it was basically like a plug and play for a Jeff Wilson in this offense. Coming back to see Coach McDaniel, he knew. He picked up the playbook the minute he got there, found his way into the end zone. He's going to do it again. Jeff Wilson has 5 boom games this year. He's going to likely get another one in this offense. Stud start for Tyreek Hill. Low-level risk play for a Jalen Waddle. Both are going to hit again this week against the Cleveland Browns defense that is very good against the run, but the Miami Dolphins offensive line has been very good as well. Mike Gesicki gets a high-level risk. I don't like it this week. I think it's going to be a lot of Jeff Wilson, Tyreek Hill, and Jalen Waddle. The Minnesota Vikings taking on our Buffalo Bills. This one hurts. This one sucks because I was hoping to see Josh Allen on the field, but Kirk Cousins against the Bills defense, who is hurt without a lot of their players as well. I think it's a mid-level risk. He's going to be able to move the ball around, especially to a Justin Jefferson. We'll see how this goes. I think it's good. He's going to hit that 15-point threshold this week against our Bills. You got to believe it's going to happen. Dalvin Cook, low-level risk. So this is the game that I want to see the run defense. If the Bills get gashed again on the run, we got a problem. And the Buffalo Bills, we got a problem. I'm telling y'all. And nobody wants to say anything. They say, oh, we play nickel. We're not adjusting because, the game script says it. I mean, you still got to adjust and stop the run. I don't like it. Excuse me. My goodness. And I mean, Dalvin Cook, to me, he's been waiting for a game to absolutely, blow up, and this could be one of them. Unfortunately, against the Buffalo Bills, I got low-level risk on a Dalvin Cook. Alexander Mattison, high-level risk. Do not touch it, obviously. He is likely one of the best handcuffs right now, but JJ, low-level risk. You're firing him up. Adam Thielen, I'm even going to say mid-level risk for an Adam Thielen without, Kaiir Elam. I think it's going to be big. I think Adam Thielen's going to see a decent amount of PPR upside. The game is going to be relatively close because the Bills still got a lot of stars on the field. But I think there's going to be opportunity where at least the offense can move the ball down the field, nickel and dime. TJ Hawkinson, low-level risk. He looked good in his debut with the Vikings last week. I think the Bills might struggle to, cover him up. He might score a touchdown as well. Fire up a TJ Hawkinson. The New Orleans Saints at the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers coming off the bye week hosting New Orleans. So this is an interesting game, but the Steelers give up a lot of yards, so I think Andy Dalton's pretty safe this week. Low-level risk. If you're looking for that, waiver wire pickup quarterback streamer, that's the word I was looking for. Andy Dalton's pretty trustworthy, I think, this week. So is Alvin Kamara, obviously. Low-level risk play. He's going to get his touches. He's going to get his yards. The Steelers' defense isn't great. Still no TJ Watt, so there's going to be room to run. Chris Olave, CO2, man. He is going to be CO2-ing all over the field. Once again, the Steelers' defense just can't cover wide receiver ones, and Chris Olave needs to find his way back in the end zone. I think an end zone shot is coming his way this week. Low floor for a Jarvis Landry. Did not see him on the injury report this week, so I mean, we'll see. Let him get his football legs back before we can trust PPR upside on a Landry. Taysom Hill, mid-level risk. He's always going to get his touches in this offense, mid-level, because the Steelers' defense isn't great. They might want to do a little bit of, pounding on the Steelers, and Taysom Hill could provide that elixir. The New York Giants, the Big Blue. I mean, they're going up against the Houston Texans in New York. Danny Penny's, I'm going to call him Danny Nichols. It becomes a problem when you call somebody that for so long. You got to adjust. Danny Nichols, man, he's earned it. Low-level risk play for me. Coming off the bye week, stud start for a Saquon Barkley. You're always firing up Saquon. And I think, it's going to be very good coming off the bye. They're going to iron some things out. They got rested. Darius Slayton, mid-level risk. Wandale, mid-level risk for me. I think they're going to be able to spread the ball around, do some new things. Saquon's going to just carve up this Houston Texans defense, just like the Philly Eagles did. So it's going to be a lot of Saquon, and then hopefully Daniel Jones gets a couple touchdowns to his wide receivers. Kenny Golladay should make his way back, but, I mean, who really cares at this point? Chris Myarick, low floor for the tight end, but there is TD upside as well. I think the Giants do a number on these Houston Texans. Sorry to tell y'all, but the Philadelphia Eagles still unbeaten, 8-0. Taking on these Washington Commanders, the Commies, on Monday Night Football. Jalen Hurts stud start every single week. No kidding. Miles Sanders, definite low risk again this week. They're just running the ball so well right now. Even Kenny Gainwell's getting boom games, man. He's got 2 on the season. They're just running. They're so efficient right now. And you know what? I gotta admit where I was wrong. I was saying Jalen Hurts couldn't do it. But again, it's kind of like the Tua thing. You bring in a Tyreek Hill, you bring in a Jalen Waddle, and Tua's able to at least move the ball around, and those wide receivers mask all of Tua's inadequacy. I'm going to give Jalen Hurts a little bit more credit than that because I think his passes have improved. His ball placement has improved. But you get a dog like an A.J. Brown on your team, he's going to mask a lot of your problems as well. So that's why stud star for both Hurts and A.J. Brown, low-level risk for Miles Sanders. I got mid-level on Devonta Smith. I think that, you know what, he could get his sprinkles. He could get his 5 to 6 catches in this game. It's just he's kind of becoming, touchdown dependent at this point because A.J. Brown is taking up everything on this field. Dallas Goedert as well, low-level risk. He is one of the safer tight ends in all of fantasy football. The Pittsburgh Steelers taking on those New Orleans Saints coming off the bye. Kenny Pickett, small hands Pickett. High-level risk. I still like this New Orleans Saints defense coming off, especially getting beat down again. You got to think that they're going to come and they're going to, do some damage. But we'll see. I mean, coming off the bye, it's very difficult to say that a team will not be given their best. Low floor for a Najee Harris. I mean, that's determined on you guys. I've been benching him because I have depth, okay? If you have depth, I'm not starting Najee. If you have no running back depth and you're forced to, I completely understand. But that's kind of where I sit with Najee right now until he shows us again. They're pumping the tires of a Jaylen Warren, saying he's going to get a lot more carries. Really, you got a thoroughbred like a Najee Harris. It's the offensive line. They can't block, so what do you want Jaylen Warren to do that Najee can't do? I'm moving on from a Jaylen Warren. Can't do it. Deontay Johnson, mid-level risk, as is George Pickens and Pat Freiermuth. So you got PPR upside, I want to say, to Deontay. George Pickens, likely touchdown appeal, and Pat Freiermuth is that safety blanket giving you the 6 to 10 points from the tight end spot this week. 4 boom games for a Pat Freiermuth. He is probably the safest option out of all these guys right now. So we'll see. Deontay, I get it. I mean, PPR upside is your key. If you're full PPR leagues, I get it. I'll fire up a Deontay, but in other senses, I will likely play a George Pickens over a Deontay at this point. San Francisco 49ers, like I said, taking on those LA Chargers. Jimmy G, they're coming off the bye week as well. Getting Deebo Samuel back is a big one. So this offense looks pretty scary on paper. You got Christian McCaffrey, throwing touchdown passes, catching, rushing touchdowns. I mean, this is what he does. It's Christian McCaffrey. It's CMC. Jimmy Garoppolo is probably sitting back there smiling. He's got so many weapons. The pressure's off his back. Mid-level risk. I think Jimmy G does enough to get you over the 15 points this week. CMC stud start obviously is going to do wonders. Deebo back now with a Christian McCaffrey. I can't wait to see what Kyle Shanahan's going to scheme up with these two men. It's going to be ridiculous. Brandon Ayuk, mid-level risk, drops down only because Deebo is back, but he should still get his 4 to 6 targets in this contest. Mid-level risk, temper the expectations of him booming this week unless he finds his way into the end zone. Low-level risk for a George Kittle, and the 49ers look relatively healthy this week going up against a Chargers defense that is very difficult or has been difficult to stop anybody this season. The Seattle Seahawks in Germany taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Germany games, man. Germany, really? You got to make me wake up early again? I can't believe this. But nevertheless, Geno Smith, he's been doing well. Low-level risk for Geno. I mean, I was going to give the stud start to Kenneth Walker once again this week. But, I low-level risk because Tampa's front seven still is pretty good. But Kenneth Walker is a stud. They're going to put on a show for these fans in Germany and Munich, if I'm not mistaken. DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, low-level risk plays. You were playing both these men. They've been doing very well. Will Disley, Noah Fant, they've muddled the waters. Who do we trust, man? Noah Fant looked good last week. Will Disley looked good like 3 weeks ago. I mean, I'm not trusting the tight end room in this game. So it's Geno, it's Walker, it's Metcalf, and it's Tyler Lockett for me in this contest. As for those Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on Seattle in Germany, Tom Brady, low-level risk. And I'm doing this because, yes, he's been disappointing this week, but this week is low-level because the way he came back in that contest last week, it was vintage Tom Brady. He just needed, Tom. We know Tom. We've seen it for years. He needs something like that just to, get the fire burning. Now that he did it, I think this is going to continue down for the rest of the season. He's going to have his stumbles here and there, obviously. But Tom Brady, the way that he came back and they won the game, get that fire moving, he's going to be able to start moving the ball around in this offense. Get that mojo back. Get that chemistry back. Leonard Fournette, low-level risk again. He's been crying that he wasn't getting involved enough. I think he's going to get involved a lot, even though a lot of people want to see Rachaad White involved. White still has a high-level risk. I got Tom Brady, Fournette, low-level risk plays for me. Mike Evans, again, low-level risk play. Fix your dropping problem like a Gabe Davis problem right now because, I mean, he's not catching the passes right now. It's not clean. But again, the chemistry, as the mojo starts coming back, Mike Evans is that trusted commodity. You got to love every single week. Mid-level risk for it, Chris Godwin, only because I do like how this Seattle Seahawks defense is playing with Kobe Bryant and that Woolen kid. They are playing lights out phenomenal, and they're not afraid of anybody. I think Godwin takes a little bit more punishment this week over a Mike Evans. I think Evans going to have the better day. Julio Jones, high-level risk. I mean, they're just nursing his touches, nursing his snaps along. Cade Otton gets a good floor this week, even though we did see Cameron Brate on the questionable tag. I don't foresee it, man. That neck injury was something. He's going to be out for still longer. Cade Otton can be trusted in all formats moving forward. Tennessee, this ugly-ass offense. What else can I say? I mean, it's just ugly. Yes, they get Ryan Tannehill back, but it is King Henry's offense. Stud start for King Henry. Everyone else, look the other way. Outside of Tannehill, maybe a mid-level risk, but coming off the injury, he's still a questionable mark. He's likely going to play, but they're just going to hand the ball off to a King Henry. High-level risk for Hilliard, Woods, Westbrook-Ikhine, and Austin Hooper. I am not trusting any of these men. It's going to be Derrick Henry once again. You can fire up Derrick, but everybody else, I mean, we can just throw up in our mouth and just, swallow it because it sucks. That was an ugly thing to say, but whatever, man. The Washington Commanders, the Commies, to finish this off on Monday Night Football against the Philadelphia Eagles defense that is absolutely stellar. Coming off the bye, rested, fresh, 8-0, undefeated. You got to love it. Tyler Heineke, we'll see. Mid-level risk. He's a gunslinger. He's not going to give up. He's going to continue to throw the ball, so I do like the play if you have to. Otherwise, I don't like the play because the matchup is god-awful. Do not start Tyler Heineke, absolutely, unless you have to. Antonio Gibson, mid-level risk. They're going to continue to utilize this man. He's running the ball very, very well. He still has, 5 boom games. Brian Robinson just still trying to figure it out, so I am trusting Antonio Gibson for volume over a Brian Robinson at this point. We do got some good news that Jahan Dotson is back in the mix, so you got Scary Terry, Curtis Samuel. Jahan Dotson is going to help a Tyler Heineke get people open. We'll see how the Philadelphia Eagles defense does play all 3 of these wide receivers. I got mid-levels on a Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, but I got a boomer bust on a Jahan Dotson because coming off the injury, he's going to want to showcase what he can do. Do not, I suspect, I should say, at least 2 or 3 deep shots going to a Jahan Dotson. One could find its way into the end zone as we got Bradbury and Slay covering McLaurin and Samuel. So we shall see how that goes. Logan Thomas, do not look in that man's direction because he pooped the bed last week, and you can find a better tight end like Cade Otton. I'm telling y'all, do not play Logan Thomas at this point. So there you have it. That is week number 10. Start, sit, lineup advice. Hopefully I got you guys the goods. A lot of people saying I'm helping you out. I love it, man. This is what I'm here for. I'm helping you guys win your league. So nevertheless, as always, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, jump in those comments, give me those start, sit questions. I will help you guys out. Give you the rationale behind it. I'm telling you, I'm here to help, man. This is what I do. But nevertheless, we'll see you next time. I am out.